You did everything right. You learned to code, you got into tech, you landed a solid UK job. Maybe you're making 50K, 80K, even 100K. So why does it still feel like you're not getting rich? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. UK tech is designed to pay you, not make you wealthy. And once you see how the system actually works, you won't look at your salary the same way again. But to understand this, we need to answer one simple question. Why do people in Silicon Valley get rich, while people in London just get paid? And the answer is not what you think. Let's start with something that sounds crazy. A developer in London earning 90K can be worse off than a developer in San Francisco earning 120K. Not because of taxes, not because of cost of living, but because of what they're actually being paid in. This is where most people miss it, because when you look at your job offer, you think you're being paid in money. You're not. You're being paid in certainty, and certainty kills upside. In the UK, tech salaries are structured to be safe, predictable, stable, comfortable, and that sounds great until you realize what's missing. Risk. And without risk, there is no massive reward. Now compare that to the US. In the US, especially in startups, compensation looks very different. Lower base salary, higher equity, more volatility. And here's the key, they're not paying you to be comfortable. They're paying you to take a bet. And that bet sometimes turns into millions. But here's where it gets interesting. Because the UK actually has everything it needs to create those outcomes. Top universities, strong talent, global companies. London, one of the biggest financial hubs in the world. So why isn't it happening at scale? Why aren't UK tech workers becoming millionaires at the same rate? The answer starts with something most people never think about: mindset at a national level. In the UK, failure is uncomfortable. There's stigma, there's hesitation, there's a cultural preference for stability. In the US, failure is almost a badge of honor, and that difference changes everything. Because if failure is acceptable, you can take bigger risks, and if you take bigger risks, you unlock bigger outcomes. But that's just the surface. The real reason goes deeper into how money actually flows. Because in the UK, capital behaves very differently. And this is where things start to click. In the US, venture capital is aggressive. They want explosive growth. They want dominance. They want companies to go from zero to billions, fast. And when investors think like that, they structure companies differently. They give out more equity. They push for bigger exits. They reward early employees massively. In the UK, investment is more conservative, more cautious, more focused on sustainability. And that sounds responsible, but it creates a hidden effect. It limits how big the upside can get. Think about this. If investors are aiming for smaller outcomes, then equity becomes less valuable. And if equity becomes less valuable, guess what companies do? They compensate with salary. This is the trade. UK, higher salary, lower upside. US, lower salary, massive upside. And most people choose the UK model without even realizing what they're giving up. But wait, it gets more subtle than that. Because even when UK companies offer equity, it often doesn't work the way people think. Let's say you join a startup. They offer you options. Sounds great, right? You imagine a future exit, a big payout. But here's what usually happens. The company grows, but not explosively. It raises more funding, diluting your share. It exits, but at a modest valuation. And suddenly, that life-changing equity becomes a nice bonus, not wealth. And this is where most people get stuck, because they think, I just need a better job. But the system itself is what's shaping the outcome. Now here's a question that might change how you see your career. What if your salary is actually limiting your wealth? Because when you're paid well every month, you don't need to take risks. You don't need to bet on uncertain opportunities. You don't need to join early-stage companies. And over time, that safety compounds into something dangerous: comfort. Comfort is addictive. It feels good. It reduces stress. It gives you stability, but it also quietly removes the possibility of exponential growth. And this is where the UK tech trap becomes clear. You can build a great career without ever building real wealth. Now let's make this more concrete. Imagine two people, same skill level, same experience. One stays in the UK system, the other joins high-risk startups. The first person earns 70k, town 90k, town 110k, steady progression, safe promotions. After 10 years, they've earned well, saved some money, maybe bought a house. The second person joins startups. Some fail, some go nowhere, but one hits, and that one outcome outweighs everything else. This is called power law distribution. Most outcomes are small, but a few are massive, and wealth comes from those massive outliers. The UK system is optimized to avoid outliers. The US system is optimized to create them, and once you see that, you realize something uncomfortable. You can't get extreme outcomes from average risk paths. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because it's not just about startups, it's also about ownership. In the US, there's a stronger culture of ownership. Equity matters more. Stock options are taken seriously. People think in terms of upside. In the UK, people think in terms of salary. What's the base? What's the bonus? What's the stability? And this difference shapes decisions, because when you prioritize salary, you optimize for income, not wealth. And income is linear. Wealth is exponential. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Even if you want to play the high upside game in the UK, it's harder. There are fewer breakout startups, fewer massive exits, fewer opportunities to get in early on something huge. And that creates a feedback loop. Fewer big wins, fewer people chasing big wins, fewer big wins. Meanwhile, in the US, more big wins, more people chasing them, even more big wins. This is why ecosystems matter. It's not just about you, it's about the environment you're operating in. So now we have three layers: culture, capital, ecosystem, all pushing UK tech toward salaries and away from wealth. But here's the twist. This doesn't mean you can't get rich in UK tech. It just means you can't do it the default way, because the default path is designed for something else. It's designed for stability, predictability, consistency, not exponential outcomes. So the real question becomes, if you want wealth, what do you do differently? And this is where most people expect a simple answer: just join a startup. But that's not enough, because most startups don't win. You need to understand something deeper. It's not about working harder, it's about positioning yourself for asymmetry. Asymmetry means limited downside, massive upside. And once you start thinking like this, your decisions change. You stop asking, what pays the most right now? And start asking, what could be worth 10x, 100x later? You start evaluating equity seriously, company trajectory, market potential. You start noticing opportunities others ignore because they're too focused on salary. And this is where things flip, because the same UK system that limits most people can actually be used differently if you're strategic, if you understand the game, if you're willing to step outside comfort. But here's the catch, and this is important. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Every job offer becomes a trade-off. Every salary increase comes with a hidden cost. Every safe decision becomes a question. And that's uncomfortable, because now you're aware of what you might be giving up. But awareness is where leverage starts, because most people in UK tech are playing a game they don't fully understand. They optimize for salary in a system that rewards ownership. They chase promotions instead of positioning. They aim for comfort instead of asymmetry. And that's why they get paid well, but don't get rich. So the real takeaway isn't UK tech is bad. It's not. It's actually very good at what it's designed to do. The problem is, most people never question what it's designed for, and once you do, you have a choice. Stay in the system and optimize it for what it offers, or play a different game. Because wealth doesn't come from following the default path. It comes from understanding the system and then choosing where to break it. And if this made you rethink how UK tech actually works, then you're already ahead of most people. because in the next video, we're going to break down exactly how people in UK tech actually do get rich and the specific paths almost nobody talks about. And once you see those, you'll realize the opportunity was always there. You just weren't looking in the right place.